Computer. Hey guys, thanks for joining tonight. We're just letting a couple people jump in, and while that's happening, we're going to introduce ourselves. I'm Victoria Alexander. I'm the owner of Realty Collective that I started 20 years ago to defy the stereotypes associated with real estate brokers. We partner with great organizations and companies like Wealthkind to help give educational value to our clients that feel, we feel like that resources like this does add value to the relationships that we have and helps prepare people for the buying process, the saving process, the life process. We also have classes with interior designers and contractors and inspectors, lawyers, like anything that you want to be educated on that, and there feels like there's barriers to getting that education. I want to help uplift people and make them feel empowered during these processes. And so buying a house is one of the biggest financial decisions that you will ever make. And I've been looking for a long time for an organization that has like-minded values and perspective that we have. And I finally found these ladies who have helped really offer some classes and workshops for people to start getting their head and facing their fears around money. Take it away, Lexi and Delana. Welcome, Wealthkind.
Thanks so much, Victoria. Thanks for having us again. We loved doing our workshop last time. We're really excited about tonight. So thank you so much for having us. You have a really awesome community that you've built. We are Wealthkind. We are the co-founders of Wealthkind, and quite simply, we help people feel good about money. So we merge tactical education around personal finance with mindset and psychology of money. We really don't think that you can talk about one without the other. Money is so deeply personal and it is so deeply psychological, and our mindset around money has a lot to do with how we behave with money. So, yeah, we are financial educators. We give all of the tactical knowledge that you could need to start saving and investing while weaving into mindset through every area of finance that we teach. And we also consider ourselves a financial wellness company, and that's because financial wellness is a core part of the wellness equation that we believe is often forgotten. The same way that you have to prioritize physical and emotional wellness, you also must prioritize your financial wellness. And that looks like building practices and habits that support your financially healthy life. So I'll let Delina introduce herself, and then I'll share a little bit more about myself, and then we'll jump in for tonight's session, which we're super excited about.
Hi, thanks so much for having us tonight. We're excited to be back. And I'm Delana Bristow. Like Lexi said, I'm a co-founder of Wealthkind. I live in Mexico City, the best city ever. And I really come to this work based on my own deep experience with personal finance and finding myself really panicked about money right when the pandemic hit. I was working in high money, high pressure consulting. I lost that job and realized I was really without a plan and without skills to manage my money. I had 25K of credit card debt and I was panicked. So when I really hit rock bottom with money, I started going on a personal journey to learn about how to manage my money, how to save, and how to invest. Paid off that credit card debt in a year, tripled my net worth in 4 years, and my relationship with money is completely transformed. I ended up going to work for a personal finance education startup where I was head of ops. And then I decided after meeting Lexi that I wanted to do this my way with Lexi. We had so many shared values. And so we started Wealthkind together. I forced her to go into business with me. We met on an investor Slack channel. So this is really our passion. Lexi and I are so deeply committed to helping people learn about money because it's really not that hard. So,
So great.
Lexi, tell us
Yeah,
where you're
so
coming
I'm
from.
I'm tuning in. I'm tuning in from Miami, Florida. I have a degree in finance, and I did the very typical financial journey of studying finance and then going to New York City to work in corporate finance. I quickly realized that 70-hour weeks and traveling Monday through Friday, working for huge corporations and how they could make more money rather than prioritizing employee wellness or many of the other things that I would have really liked to focus on in the consulting world. I very quickly realized that it was out of alignment with my values personally, and that I wanted to create a life for myself that was more aligned and um, yeah, more fulfilling. So I took a sabbatical from work. I dove into personal finance. I started investing in the stock market and real estate and really set out to create a life of financial freedom for myself. And very naturally, that turned into wanting to share that with everybody else in my life. And that's luckily when I met Delana and we started Wealthkind. So, yeah, we really just want to make financial literacy accessible and we want to help people feel good about money. So, let's get into tonight's content. Also, just a heads up, we will be cutting up the recording so that we don't share people's personal stories. We really pride ourselves on creating a safe container. It is so important when talking about money. So we will be, if you share tonight, just know we will cut it out and it will remain in this room. Please respect everyone's confidentiality if you're here. And thanks so much for being with us.
Great. And if you're watching this the next day or in the future, please reach out. These guys are constantly doing free workshops and have a class and program that they do. So if you found this helpful, make sure you reach out to them because they have great resources and are good at what they do. So let's take it away. Thanks, ladies.
We've created through working with a lot of clients and just defining and seeing trends in different behaviors. And then I don't think we need breakout rooms because it's a small group. So we'll just talk through, what rings true to you in terms of seeing some of these money personas. We'll share a little bit about it and do a quiz so you guys can kind of evaluate for yourselves based on different questions that we've prepared, which persona you might be. And then we'll talk through kind of how you can shift some of those behaviors and what are some action items that you can do to change the little devil on your shoulder.
Okay, we're going to start with taking some deep grounding breaths together, really just to release the days that we've had, the Zoom crashers, and really ground into this present moment together because money is really intimate. And yeah, we just believe that it's really helpful to really get into our bodies and open our minds before we get started in any of this work. So, if you're not in a comfortable position, I'll invite you to take a moment to do so. You can be sitting, you can be laying down, whatever it is, but just take a moment to bring some awareness to your body, releasing your shoulders, releasing your jaw, maybe intentionally removing the tongue from the roof of your mouth. And if you feel comfortable to do so, I'll invite you to even flutter those eyes shut for just a moment and start to bring some deep awareness to your inhales through your nose and sighing out of your mouth. Doing this once again, and now bringing some awareness to what temperature the air is that's coming in through your nose, and maybe how that changes as you sigh out of your mouth. For this next inhale, I'm going to invite you to do a double breath just to deepen the relaxation a little more. So inhaling like this, and again, sighing out of the mouth. Doing one more deep inhale with a second little inhale of breath, and sighing out of the mouth. Releasing any fears, any nerves, and just accepting where you are, bringing yourself to this present moment together. Fluttering those eyes back open if they're closed. Maybe giving yourself a little stretch if you feel the need. Maybe lifting your hands above your head or twisting your body, whatever it is, shake those shoulders. And we'll go ahead and dive into the content of the night now.
All right. So I mentioned before that Lexi and I have just been watching and learning and seeing what trends across our different clients. And we came up with this concept of money shadows because, like I said, it brings a lightness to some of the behaviors we might have that bother us about money. Some of the things that we've inherited that give us a more negative spin on the way that we're behaving and thinking about money. So we're going to introduce 6 money shadows to you, tell you a little bit about what behaviors these shadows might bring out. And then we'll do a quick quiz. I think it's 6 questions, takes just a couple of minutes so that you can determine which shadow you might lean towards. You can have several different shadows. So again, this is not like a Gallup survey. It's not scientific. Go with your instinct and just choose an answer that most aligns with some of the behavior that you might exhibit. And again, this is not meant to define you underneath this shadow. It's more meant to bring a light awareness to this so that we can move towards behaviors that serve us with our money. And again, we inherit a lot of things from our families. The way that we grew up, we watched how our families behaved with money, and those are practices that we inherited. So we got to actively change the way we think about money and bring awareness to it so that we can create more abundance in the way that we manage our money. So the first shadow that we identified, we call high roller Harper. This was 100% me when I got laid off at the start of the pandemic. I was living it up, going to the best restaurants, shopping, just having no awareness of my money at all. And so this high roller Harper is someone who loves the finer things in life. They indulge in experiences and luxuries and fun, but sometimes this leads to overspending and a bit of financial instability. Harper also might feel a little bit of shame after some purchases and unawareness of, can I afford that? I'm not sure. Other things that Harper might do is overspending to impress others or maintain a certain lifestyle. So it's definitely that keeping up with the Joneses vibe, or they simply struggle to save and invest because they've spent so much money and then they wonder, oh, it never comes around with the saving and investing piece. So that's Harper. That's me. I'm a little bit of each. I was a little bit of each. Then we have Debt Downer Devin. And Devin is the person who is really weighed down by their debt and almost feels like it's part of their identity. They can never get out of debt. It's a constant source of stress, and they can't even imagine how money could be a tool for freedom. So Devin is the person that really feels guilty about past financial mistakes, and they might let that weigh on them and have this voice of shame about perhaps taking out too much debt for school with a degree they didn't use or something like that shame really carries along with them. And another behavior that Devin might do is using balance transfers to take on new debt or to cover old debt. It's a very common behavior. Our third persona is avoidant Alex. We see a lot of people fall in this category in our work. So Alex is the person who really just looks away with money. Ignore, ignore, ignore. They completely, they won't log into their bank account. They won't look at credit card statements to see what they spent. They would never. They really, really avoid looking at money in an intentional way. Avoidant Alex also might ignore financial red flags, things like high interest credit card debt. They might rationalize that as, that's just the cost of me making purchases and I'm okay with paying 30% interest rates, things like that. Or they might not have an emergency fund. They have very low savings and they just ignore it and brush it off. So those are our first 3. Let's walk through our second 3. Let me get these pulled up.
Something else about avoidant Alex really quick is
Yeah.
that they also often outsource their finances to somebody else in their life. So that's the person that maybe relies on a partner or a family member to kind of make all of their financial decisions, whether it comes to what investments they should be investing in or if they should make XYZ purchase. So that's another like little signal that if you are somebody who does that, maybe you resonate with avoidant Alex. The next one is scarcity Sam. And so scarcity Sam is really the person who feels fearful around money, kind of no matter what their situation is. They don't feel secure. It's really for this person, it's really like a mindset piece because it doesn't matter if they have a lot of money in their bank account or a little, they tend to feel the same, which is that insecure lack of trust with themselves when it comes to money and their safety. So the scarcity Sams of the world will struggle to spend money on things that they enjoy. It doesn't feel good for them to spend money. even if they can afford them. And they also tend to take less financial risks. So they're definitely like a more conservative investor because of that lack of trust.
That's my husband. And he almost got his hair cut. Exactly right.
That's incredible. Paycheck to paycheck Parker is the person who is living paycheck to paycheck that feels like they're in a never-ending cycle of getting money and spending all of it, getting money and spending all of it. And they don't really have the emergency fund set up or any kind of parachute when emergencies do come up because they are living paycheck to paycheck. So they usually rely on credit cards to cover bills and emergencies. And they just don't feel very good about money because there's never really quite enough. And so they're often playing the catch-up game. And then Saver Stevie is the person who saves and invests and optimizes and honestly, they're probably not investing as much as they could or should. They tend to lean into saving more than stashing money away, but they're really like a hoarder when it comes to money. And that looks like not really spending money on things that they enjoy, not enjoying money, really feeling a lot of stress around spending. Uh, so yeah, this person really hoards their money, typically in savings accounts. Maybe they invest, but it's not in a way that feels fruitful or feels good. And they often feel really guilty spending. This is also the person in your life who is cutting coupons, going to multiple grocery stores for like different prices on blueberries. This is the person who waits till Black Friday to do all their shopping and then they spend more than they would ever if they actually just did value aligned spending. Like it's really that like person who's looking to optimize at all times and doesn't feel good when it comes to spending. So yeah, that's an intro to all of our personas. I'm gonna drop the link in the chat right now for the quiz, but just want to emphasize that this is not supposed to be shame invoking or yeah, this is not you're not resigning to one of these personas. It's really just a way to bring awareness to habits, as Selena said. So we're gonna give everyone a couple of minutes now to fill out this quiz so you guys can find out which persona maybe you can right now see which one you resonate with the most based on those descriptions. Would love if you guys could drop it in the chat who you're leaning towards, who you think you have a little bit of. I'll say Saver Stevie and Scarcity Sam are two of the ones that I have to be hyper aware of. So maybe drop in the chat and then take the quiz and let's see if it like matches up with what your gut told you, or maybe there's some habits that you weren't aware of. So the quiz will only take a couple minutes, and that link is in the chat now.
Pam
Fine.
thinks high roller. I love it. I want to hear what you got after you take the quiz, Pam. What resonates with you, Victoria?
Two, I'm gonna try to type and talking, but to the high roller one mixed with the Alex one, I think the yeah, avoidant Alex because yeah, I'm avoidant. I have this like tendency to I own my own business, so it's a little bit harder, but I spend a lot of money, then I get paid, I pay it all down. I spend it like and then just not think about it. And it's, a kind of vicious cycle sometimes. Typing.
That can
My
be a little bit of Pat, where you're going in cycles of getting that money and then it goes out and getting it and it goes out and it just feels like this cycle of ups and downs.
But it's also because I work in an industry that is commission based. So it's like, oh, huge check, can pay everything down. Okay, another huge check. And then, small checks in between to lifeline it. But a good
Yeah.
thing I have my husband who's scarcity Sam. He's also a teacher. So he has like a pension and retirement and job security and great health insurance. So I kind of leveled it out by marrying into some better financial. He doesn't want to spend any money ever. I had to teach him how to spend money on. He'd be like, "Oh, I'm like, you only live once. Please just buy this thing. You deserve to have it. That we don't have children. Please get this for yourself. You can have this." So
I love
Yeah.
that you're balancing each other.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And spending is a skill. So Lexi also works on this skill of buying things for joy and not having to do all the shopping and price comparing every single time. Right? What do you think, Lexi?
Yeah, yeah. And I like surround myself with people who hold me accountable, like Delana. So when I'm like really overthinking a purchase, she's like, "That's your saver Stevie. Like, you gotta put her in check." And I'm like, "Yes, you're right. I'm just gonna buy the thing."
It was a
Doesn't have.
Vitamix, everybody. It was a Vitamix. We compared all the models. So, no, you've gotten a lot better at it and in finding more joy in how you spend money. So
Well,
nice.
one of the, we're after we hear that everybody's done with the quiz and we share a little bit together collaboratively. So yeah, after you guys finish the quiz, drop it in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself. Um,
Yeah, I want to hear, Pamela, so you might be a little bit of both. You might be the high roller and the debt downer. Tell us. Hi.
Hi, and this is being recorded, so I would probably speak more fluently if it wasn't being recorded, but I understand the need for that. Because there's a lot I would like to say, but I won't. Uh,
Off, Pam.
yeah,
You want me to hit stop for right now?
yeah, can we stop for a second? Yeah.
For you, I'm going to do it for you.
And I also just want to say I've been there and I totally get it. And I think sometimes when you have these moments of realization with yourself about where you are with your money, it's actually really powerful and it starts like this upward trajectory up where you take control of the spending and you get really, really clear on what your priorities are at the moment, if it's paying down debt, if it's raising your income. And I think it's actually a really powerful moment. And I also want to say that you can learn personal finance if you put in 20 hours of work and you read one or two books on personal finance, and we're happy to suggest one or two to start with, you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
feel so much better about money in a really short amount of time. And you also don't have to know everything to make really, really strong progress on where you are. And there was nothing that I did that was more powerful for myself when I was in a very similar situation than it was with just getting super strict with my fixed expenses, making sure that my living costs were really low where I could control that. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
and I just want to say something that you are doing very intuitively, it sounds like, is a tool that we give our clients. And I'll just, yeah, uh, congratulate you on doing that very intuitively, which is we recommend assigning chapters, like even naming the chapter that you're in. So you said like you're on a tight budget, you're doing a sprint. Like this is temporary. And this is going to be a part of like your hero story. This will be like Delana said, you are going to learn about personal finance because you have to right now. And then it's going to set you up for a more abundant and more rich life in the future. I have no doubt about that. But really naming like what you said, it's like a tape budget. We look at it as a sprint, but even think about naming that chapter, this chapter, which is a temporary moment in your journey of finance. It's just a moment, but giving that a name and being like, oh, I am in this chapter and it is temporary and I will be in a different place a year from now.
Thank you. Thank you. I like that.
One other thing I also want to say, because I mean, thank you for sharing all this, is that this isn't necessarily your fault. Like the way that the situations that we're in with money, we were never taught this in school by design. Most of our families do not know this, and so they don't teach us how to behave and act with money. We're not set up for success. So that's why we're here. And that's why we do the work that we do. We have a free workshop next week that you should come to that will really help you also get clear on your fixed expenses. But yeah, you're making moves. And I think this is a powerful moment. Actually, it's not a negative one.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else want to jump in on where their quiz turned out and what money persona they resonate with? And Farah, do you buy? Okay, yes. Hey,
Hi.
Julie.
Are you guys going to be posting this because like somewhere because you can record, but if you're posting, I would also love a pause on recording.
I'll pause it.
Outside the box of other ways you can make money.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for sharing, Julie. Patricia, before we move on, do you want to share it all? No pressure at all. If you don't take yourself off mute, we'll get the message. But if you do want to share, the floor is yours. All right. We can scroll down, Delana, past the share. Amazing.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about how we can shift some of our personas. Because again, this is this little devil that's on your shoulder, and it might come up even as you're working with your relationship on money, but we can shift some of those behaviors and have more positive relationship with money and really actively tell ourselves a different story and a different set of behaviors that we want to embody. So for High Roller Harper, one of the shifts, and we just have a couple of suggestions here and then money mantras for each one. So for High Roller Harper, one shift that they could make is to open an indulgence fund. So a specific amount that they are going to have a specific bank account, a savings account for that they can spend guilt-free and that they know they're still on track when they're spending that money. So it's a way to bring some organization and some parameters around that spending. They can also, I love this one, try a 24-hour pause rule. So when you're about to buy something, especially the Amazon stuff, you're buying like organizers for the pantry or all of these things, you can really take a pause and say, do I need to buy this? Can I think about it for 24 hours and see if that urge to buy it is still there to try to curb some of that impulse spending? And then huge one, and this is what we recommend to all people, is to automate their savings and investing. So when you pay yourself first and you have that money automated on the front end, right after you've gotten paid, that money hits the savings account, that money goes to your investments, then you're not worried about how much money you're spending because you've already taken care of yourself on the front end. That's called pay yourself first. So the money mantra for Harper could be, I can enjoy life while also building financial security. Those things can absolutely go hand in hand. A lot of women feel a lot of shame around purchases, and it's not necessary. Once you pay yourself first and get those automations set up to savings and investing, you feel good about your spending and you don't feel any guilt or shame. So, debt downer Devin, what are a couple of shifts that they can make? The first one is to start small and to really create a plan around how they're going to pay off their debt. There's really cool debt payoff calculators that are free online. You can just Google it and you can pick a method like the snowball method where you start with the smallest debt first, you pay that off, you get momentum, and then you tackle the next debt. And really then you're left with smaller accounts with debt so that you don't feel as overwhelmed with having, 5 credit cards you're paying off at the same time. So that's called the debt snowball method. And then the second one for debt downer Devin is to kind of shift your mindset from, oh, I'm drowning in debt, this is never going to go away, to I have a plan to move forward and this is just a chapter, like Lexi mentioned. Third one is to reframe debt as a challenge and not a life sentence. So not being defined as someone who's always going to be in debt, but rather thinking through, how can I channel more money to that? Kind of, you can gamify it too. That when I had 25K credit card debt, that's exactly what I did. I thought, how I'm going to pay this off as fast as humanly possible. I'm going to make so many slashes. And I really did a sprint to get rid of that debt. And it felt so good. And then the money mantra for Devin could be, I am in control of my financial future and I release shame around debt. Again, a lot of the debt that we've taken on, student debt when you're 18 years old and you don't understand anything about interest rates, we shouldn't feel guilty about that. We just need to make a plan and then consistently work towards it. Avoid an Alex. Go ahead. Sorry, Lex. Yeah.
And a quick little bonus exercise for the debt downer Devons. I find it really helpful, and I've seen it be really helpful for a lot of our clients, Delana, to find gratitude for their debt. So really changing the story around debt from shame and really being really grateful and thanking your debt for the opportunities it's given you, whether it's a college experience, whether it's a certain trip, or just getting you through a really hard chapter of life where you felt like you had to take on that debt. Shifting that story from shame to gratitude helps us to approach tackling our debt with a completely different attitude. So just a little bonus activity.
Love that. So for avoidant Alex, some of the things that they can do is to set a money date with themselves, and not this, awful, I'm going to be in the middle of my workday and log into my accounts. No, light some candles, go out and have a nice drink by yourself, and take 15 minutes to review your finances in a really relaxed way. For the avoidant Alexes, it's just rip that band-aid off and look at what you're spending in your credit card account. It feels scary. It's not as scary once you do it. Secondly, use automation. We preach this to people. Automate those bill pays, automate your savings and investing so that you can feel effortless with money. Money shouldn't be this whole complicated system that you're spending many hours on all the time. That's not a healthy relationship with money. Set up your systems to serve you, and then you can log in, take a look, do some adjusting, but you're logging in a not avoidant way, and you're spending a little bit of time, but it's not running your life. Third, start a conversation with a partner, with a friend, with a family member about money, and really bring some curiosity, bring a learning mentality to a conversation, and ask a good friend, how do you manage your money? How do you invest for retirement? And starting to have those conversations, and not labeling yourself as like, oh, I never talk about money. I don't do that. That is not a healthy behavior, and it can be really powerful to talk to somebody that you trust about money. And then a money mantra for Alex could be, money is simple. I am capable of learning how to manage it. So I like that one. Let's go through our next three.
Yeah, really quickly. Julie wrote in the chat, I feel like I will completely lose command of money if I automate bills because then I wouldn't have a reason to look at my money.
That's interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think logging in to check that some of your bills were correct, or that is totally fine. I think it's okay to look at your money once a quarter, once every 6 months, from a savings and investing piece. But tell me a little bit more about your comment.
Yeah, this is definitely one of my personas. I am dreading. So doing income tax returns is literally the most daunting thing that I have going on all year. And so I don't want to look at it. I don't want to talk about it. I've been lucky enough to always have enough up until, this approaching moment. So yes, that's I have some automations, but I feel like if I automate all of it, I'm just not going to look at all.
I tend to do the same thing. I don't look, but then I also realize, oh, if I don't look, then I won't see charges that I got double charged for. Or if I don't look, then am I catching something that isn't supposed to be on there that I canceled that is still showing up there? So I do, I've automated a lot of my bills, but I would say that especially looking at the one credit card and being like, okay, and then you can see where did I actually spend? Why is this bill this much money? Where did I spend it? You know, there's all sorts of crazy things. I'm always like, Farah, what is this weird name on my credit card statement? And she'll have an explanation for it, but I'm always like, who are we paying that much money to? So I think that you just have to continue looking at it and automate the things that you can automate. That has worked for me. And that's just, I feel like a
I
helpful.
guess it's been kind of the monthly scheduling has been that prompt for me to go and check actually, right? So I feel like if I don't have that as a prompt, I don't know if I'm gonna keep checking.
And I don't schedule my credit card like the Amex. I'm always looking at the bill and scheduling it because I have to figure out how much I can pay. I'm not paying the full amount. So most of the time because it's so large. But I would say everything else is automated, like the phone bill, the Con Edison, all those things. And Con Edison is taking so much money from me. That's the utility one, electric.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, personal finance is super personal, and if you know yourself and that automating bills would set you back, then don't do that. But I will say, when looking at that list of recommendations of what to do, it is automate bills and have a weekly money date with yourself, Don't do one without the other because yeah, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense. And honestly, if it were me, I wouldn't automate my bills because I know that that is the thing holding me accountable to sit down with my money once a week, once a month, and look at what I'm spending. Very important part that Victoria mentioned. there are sneaky charges on almost every single one of my credit card statements. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been double charged for things, or I get charged for like an annual Photoshop membership that I don't even remember signing up for and I never use. Like, thank goodness I'm checking in on my money so that I can catch those. Because yeah, money finds a home. Like, the money in your account will find a home, and we need to be mindful of where that's going. So I think that based on what you're sharing, like maybe automating bills won't be helpful for you. The thing that we want to stress about automations is more so automating your savings and investing. It's what we call paying yourself first. So like setting up those automations leads to typically hundreds and thousands of dollars in your savings or investing accounts in the future because you set up those automations today. So that's really like the power of automation. If it makes your life easier to automate your bills, do it. If it makes your life harder and it'll set you back, definitely don't do it. But yeah, you just got to figure out what works for you. Anything to add on that, Delana, before I move on to Scarcity Sam?
No, I think you can do both. I think you can automate your bills and review them. You can have both, but the power is automating your savings and investing, because that, when you don't have to, you can't, I mean, most people do not successfully every month go in and make that transfer to their savings and investment. So it really is a front end setup that you do to set yourself up for success.
Okay, Scarcity Sam. So some of the shifts that you can make if you fall into this category or even feel like you have small parts of Scarcity Sam. The first one is to create a wealth gratitude list. So this is really reestablishing like a new relationship with money. So sitting down, maybe it's on your monthly money date, and writing down 3 ways that money has supported you can really shift the energy that we're bringing to money, treating money like a tool for our enjoyment, for our fulfillment, for creating a beautiful life for ourselves, rather than treating money as something that we can't trust and don't want to interact with. Another thing is to set up a fun fund. And this is really, maybe it's an automation that you put a certain amount of dollars into the savings account once a month, but it is a fund dedicated to your enjoyment. Again, really establishing this new relationship with money where money feels good, not that money feels hard or gross, or it's something that I can't trust myself with. And then the last one for Scarcity Sam is to start investing. So it doesn't have to be a large amount. It can be as small as $5 or $10 a month, but setting up an automation to start investing will allow yourself, you will see that money grow, and you will learn that you can trust yourself with your money. You are doing things, you are taking on risks and being rewarded for it by investing your money. So your money mantra as Scarcity Sam would be, there is always more than enough for me. And that one really resonates with me. Paycheck to Paycheck Parker. So some shifts that Paycheck to Paycheck Parker can do is, one, start paying themselves, which is what I just mentioned. Automating those savings and investings, ideally as soon as your income hits your bank account. So you really want to pay your future self first, pay all your bills, and then use the rest of the money as your flexible spending each month. The next thing you can do is tracking your spending for just a week. So you can do this for a week, you can do this for a month, whatever feels more doable to you. If you're going to commit to it, make it something doable, something that you feel like you can do. But knowing where our money is going is a really important part of creating a healthy routine with money. And there's a lot of things that we pay for that we don't even realize how much money we're putting into whatever it is that is that product, that place, that restaurant. So on an Amex and on a lot of credit cards, you can actually categorize your spending. And so that way you can look at the end of the month in a pie chart, like a really nice pie chart kind of diagram, and see where most of your money is going. And we're not saying don't spend money on the things that bring you joy. Like, we really don't buy into the like, don't buy an $8 lavender latte like story. Like, we think if that brings you a lot of joy, you should do it. But you should know how much money you're putting into that, giving to that coffee store down the street for your own awareness, and so that you're spending in alignment with your values. So cutting things that you don't value and being able to spend on the things you really do value. And the last thing for Paycheck to Paycheck Parker is just exploring side hustles, exploring other ways to make more money. As Delana mentioned, there's two ways to have more money: spend less, make more. And so this is really exploring the side of how can I make more money? Can I start an Etsy shop? Can I pick up dog walking? Can I create art that feels really awesome to make, and I'm also uh, able to sell and make a little money on the side each month? So yeah, just brain dump a bunch of the things that you like to do and that you could be paid for, and then exploring the options of if they could really bring in any sort of side income that you can either put towards bills, towards savings, towards investing. And if you do something like that and you're a paycheck to paycheck Parker, we recommend starting that side hustle with the intention of, so say your paycheck is covering all your expenses, but you don't have money for saving and investing, you take on a side hustle. I started dog walking, and every month, everything that I make through dog walking goes into my investment account. And maybe it's a temporary sprint and you do that for a year. Maybe it's even shorter or longer, and eventually you get a promotion at work and you don't have to do that hustle anymore. But yeah, get creative. Your mantra for this one is, I have the power to break free from financial stress and build stability. And then the last one is Saver Stevie. So as Delana mentioned, this is one that I definitely have to keep in check. And I do this first one very often, which is identify a joyful spending category that aligns with your values. So really knowing your values, knowing what you enjoy spending money on, and what we like to say is turning up the dial on that. So if I really appreciate and value travel and like new experiences, then I like to, when I'm looking at spending money on travel, turn up the knob a little on how I can make this experience even more meaningful, even more joyful, even more fulfilling. The second one is make one intentional guilt-free purchase this month. So think about something that you've been waiting to go on sale, something that you've been really thinking a lot about, maybe for months, maybe even a year. And instead of waiting for Black Friday, make the purchase this month. Show yourself that you are deserving and worth it, and really take the time to make that purchase and start a new neuro pathway for yourself. And then the last one, practice generosity. Really donating money, being generous with your time, with your money, giving is an awesome way to start changing the way we feel about money, especially for the Saver Stevies. Your money mantra is, money is a tool for both security and joy. We also threw in two positive personas, because with everything, there is a shadow side and a light side. And while we all have some of those shadows sitting on one side of our shoulders, we also have the light side on the other. And so this is really what we want to introduce you to, these personas, as a way to remember the light side when you're struggling with whatever it is your shadow side. So the first one is Abundant Avery, and this is the person who is really prioritizing mindset work and how they feel about money. So this person may fully fund a travel or dream experience account. They really make it a priority to spend without guilt and to enjoy their money. They have trust that money is coming, that they can make financial decisions that are in alignment with who they are and how they want to show up. And they live in a very abundant way. So yes, that's one. The other one is strategic sage. So this is the person that is strategic, is organized, has a plan for their money, and is making money moves. So they review their finances regularly, they make adjustments as needed, they have those money dates with themselves, they create money rituals, they celebrate their wins. They're really just strategic with their money, but they do not fixate on their money. And that's a really important, like, little star moment. The strategic sage of the world is not anxiously checking their money every day, trading, obsessing over their spending. But again, coming down to this trusting place with themselves to make the right decisions and setting up their system so that they don't have to check their money consistently and constantly in an obsessive way.
Thank you. I love it. We're all moving between light and dark. So, Victoria, thank you so much for having us. Farah, thank you for having us. This is a cool community, minus a few bad eggs. But if this was useful to you guys today, if this type of work really calls you, if you want to get down to business with your money and start learning how to change your relationship with money and learn the tactics to save and invest, work with us. We have our course coming up. We start March 18th. It's 8 to 10 women, super intimate. It's a month-long course. And it's just wild how much progress women make in just 1 month. And yeah, follow us on Instagram, email us. We always write back. It's us receiving the emails. We want to hear from you guys. We have a lot of free events. So if you want to be on our email list, drop your email. We have a free event next week. Would love to have you guys. We really want to bring people together in ways that are accessible so that they can help improve their relationship with money and learn how to save and invest. So thanks for having us.
Oh, Farrah's telling me I get the paper statements. Yes, I get the paper statements, Farrah. Thanks, guys, so much. This was so great, and I think it's going to be valuable for people even afterwards. So we'll make sure we send it out to them, minus the, private moments that we cut out, and the beginning that we're going to have to re-record maybe. But thank you guys so much for joining. I'm hopefully that everybody thought this was valuable. I did for sure. And hopefully we'll figure out something else to do again in the future.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys. Have a great night. Oh, Julie sent her email.
Yeah.
We got you, Julie. Well, we'll definitely email you and make sure that you have the information for next week. Thanks so much for sharing and for showing up for yourself tonight. It was awesome meeting you.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Did everybody leave? Okay. So, I'm going to stop recording.